Hello everybody, Matt the Greeter atop the Bug Smasher. What do we got? Is that Florida? See a lot of Florida plates up here. Nobody's asking for an apology, but I'll apologize to Floridians for, you know, there's a lot of bad driving down in Florida. You know, I've said this before, and I figured out why. It's because people up here in the Boston area, they grow a cotton ball on top of their head, and then they move to Florida. They take the Boston driving down there. So to all my Florida friends, sorry about that. Hey, we used to export cranberries, but hey, now we grow condominiums and other things around here, and we export bad drivers. I partially apologize. I feel like it's more genuine to partially apologize, because part of you feels good about about something you said or did. Part of you does. So if you offer an apology, that's a little partially insincere, right? But I'd like to be fully sincere and transparent with you. I partially apologize. It's okay. Just want you to know I'm being honest with you. I want to talk about a couple quirks with the old Bug Smasher that you may or may not have noticed. One is the propensity to look up and down, which, one of the unique design features, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a good one, but is on the lowrider you have tank mounted gauges. So in a reasonably designed motorcycle, your gauges are up here, like out in front of you. So you're not dipping your head or doing this or that. Your gauges are right there. You know exactly how fast you're going, and you know your engine speed by looking at your RPMs on your tachometer. What's up, dude? And that's great, but not on the lowrider. The lowrider, for some reason, they're mounted on the tank, and I think it was like an early aesthetic reason, because the lowrider was, it's on the FX frame, which was like an experimental frame. So you're sort of marrying the sport frame with the heavier back end of a you know, it's a when this bike first came out, it was sort of like it was like an in-between model. So it had a cool factor to it, and so maybe some of that, Willie G designed it actually on a napkin, I think on his way home from Sturgis back in, I don't know when it was, 79 or I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. 80s, 83. I should know my own motorcycle, right? But yeah, so anyway, the tank mounted gauges, you're putting them down here so you're not seeing them up there. So maybe it was an aesthetic choice, but you can always tell the guy on a low, if you saw a motorcycle video, guy on a Harley, and you could only see him from the helmet up, or from his chin up, or his shoulders up, you could tell if he's riding a lowrider, or I think a Road King also has tank mounted gauges, but you're seeing the head dip up and down, you know, and that's what we're doing, is we're looking at our gauges, which are very inconveniently mounted. But I'm used to it. It's all I've ridden is lowriders. So I mean, I've ridden I borrowed a couple of friends' bikes here and there, and other makes and models and configurations, but for the most part, I've ridden road. I've been atop, been aboard. You know what I'm talking about. So my friend's bike was a 2007 lowrider. My other friend's bike, a 2005 lowrider. It's my favorite platform. But is it my favorite platform because it's all I've ridden? Or ridden? Oh boy, here, you know, I used to teach English. This full face, I think I'm breathing my own fumes in this. It reminds me of the little Faith No More line. Would anybody tell me if I was getting stupider? Rhetorical. The other quirky thing you might see me doing while riding the lowrider is occasionally with my right hand, I'm doing this kind of thing. You know, so it's just an alternate way of twisting the throttle when my tendonitis might be flaring up. Some of you guys know I'm in the food industry, so I do a lot of hand work. Everything's done by hand, and you know, a lot of gripping and twisting. And don't get nervous. I'm talking about food here, and you know, so. And then what do I do when I'm not here? Is I play bass, you know, and guitar and stuff. So a lot of things that I do require, you know, me to have dexterous hands and this and that. And so I ended up a few years ago getting some really bad tendonitis. It wasn't actually from riding, and it wasn't from, you know, the food industry. It wasn't from guitar, but it has taken a long time to go away. So it does sometimes affect my riding. It sometimes does affect my work and my technique on the instruments that I play. So, but one of the ways you might see that manifested on the Bug Smasher is with just like a little grip, just trying to get a little different position, kind of ease that tendonitis a little bit, and but I don't usually do it in traffic because you can't really respond too quickly to situations. So that's another thing you'll see me do that's just a little quirky, and there's no reason you should do it. The only reason I do it, like I said, is because of my tendonitis. Make sense? Yeah, there was a time when my tendonitis was really, really bad, and I was on a long ride, and I had to get home. There was nowhere to stop, and I actually went to an underhanded grip on the throttle hand for a little while on the highway. I flipped my hand upside down, and I was rolling on the throttle, you know, with an upside down grip. That's definitely not recommended. But you know, you got to do what you got to do to get home. There was so speaking of that, like have you ever been stuck in a situation where you had to get home, and you know, like there was a time early in my riding when I got caught in the. So here's the deal. I've grown up in New England. I've lived here most of my life, and so we have wacky weather here. I don't like the word wacky, but I just used it with a straight face, so there. But anyway, we have weather that changes spontaneously, and you know, we get weathermen who you know, they get pushed down dark alleys and beat up because they just don't get it right. But it's, you know, it's a raw deal here. We're next to the ocean, sort of. We're you know, there's a lot of variables. We're up towards the top of the coast here. Well, not really, but partway up the coast, and there's a lot of variables that change our weather. Anyway, that's a very short story long, but I got stuck. I rode all the way down to my parents' house, about an hour away. It was a hot day, and the temperature dropped like 30 degrees, and so I had to drive home, and I didn't have the right gear, of course, because I was a fairly new rider at the time. So you know, I had everything on. My mother even gave me some of those, you know, dish gloves to try to keep some of the wind out. I mean, I was cold. What's this guy stopping for? You're confusing me, man. Anyway, yeah, it was so cold. I borrowed hoodies from my dad, dish gloves from my mom that fit. I think I might have had to put them over my riding gloves. I had yeah, I was still that was my half helmet days, so I had like a scarf tucked in. I had a hat. I think I might have had doubled up on the hats or something. It was dumb. I looked really stupid, and I felt stupid too, because it was sort of preventable. So the more I ride, the better prepared I am, or the more I can appropriately pick gear. And so I guess the one thing I don't miss, because I've never had it, but one thing I would love someday on a daily rider is to have saddlebags. You know, I wear the backpack all the time, and that's fine, because I like the look of the bike without saddlebags. But some days I wonder, like, if I had something like a Road King, a Street Glide, Road Glide, something like that with bags, you know, would that help my cause at all, or would I just overload them with the wrong stuff? I don't know. But that ride home was terrible. I've been caught in the rain, not ready for it. You get those pop-up thunder showers in the summer. I mean, you Florida people you're mocking me right now for saying that, because you guys get rained on all the time. But you know, I don't. And like right now, I currently have a very bald back tire, and you know, getting rained on, getting caught in the rain when you're not ready for it, and when it doesn't happen all the time, you know, that can be very disconcerting. So it doesn't happen. You're in Florida, you're used to riding in the rain, but I'm not used to it. You know, and now I can ride in the rain fine, but I don't like it because of the driving around here, and because, well, I have a bald back tire that I gotta get fixed up. So I've been caught in snow flurries. There was nothing about that was enjoyable, except for pulling in the driveway and getting off the bike after, knowing that I had made it home. Then it was fun. But at the time, it was a real clencher of a ride. I was not happy. But the flakes were coming down. The street was still above freezing, so they were hitting the street and melting. But it was still really disconcerting. Aside from that, every other ride has been just perfectly glorious and wonderful and serene and just, oh, gratitude inducing. I think the biggest detriment to riding enjoyment here in New England is right in here, right inside that helmet. It's me. When I get caught up in my head, I have lousy rides. When I'm in a good mood and I'm in a stable place emotionally and mentally and whatever, then even getting caught in the rain, I remember getting caught in a thunderstorm one time. Thunderstorms are dangerous on a bike, but I was just belly laughing, and I passed another guy on a bike, and we waved to each other, and it was like, yeah, you too? Yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. And it was funny, you know. But then you get another day which is beautiful and sunny, and I got a lousy attitude. So for me, like my friend in the Air Force used to say, I'm not in the Air Force, but I had a friend who was in the Air Force who said, your attitude determines your altitude. So the direction your plane is in the air is your attitude determines your altitude. So, you know, you got a bad attitude, where are you going? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, Matt the Greeter, in this old shed where I park this baby, and try not to crash on a rake or something. All right, guys, that's it. I'll talk to you soon. All right, guys, bye.